Jurgen, how much has Pep Guardiola changed from the coach that was at Bayern Munich? Because when you think of Pep, I always think of, well, we're just going to score more goals than you. However, we've seen this Manchester City change, haven't we? And the defensive performance was as good as the attacking one today.
Well, one of his biggest strengths of Pep Guardiola certainly is the fact that he can adapt to different places and different leagues and different ways of doing it. So he's not stuck with one model himself. He's kind of very open to kind of change things around, to try things out and kind of put together a new puzzle. You know, like we saw now often that he played without a real number 9. He had De Bruyne then kind of roaming around everywhere. So tactically, he's constantly open to change things up and to adjust. And this is the Pep Guardiola of today. He's not just focused on the result itself. He's focused on how he can make his team the best team possible. And this was today, it was a pure team performance. It was fantastic to see how they were in control in the last half an hour. I mean, it was like Craig said, it was like, you know, a box ring. You know, they just dictated the tempo, they dictated everything, and they had their nerves always under control. Meanwhile, Paris Saint-Germain in a certain way was just too dependable on Neymar. Does he bring something up, maybe a free kick, something of surprising, or Di Maria, maybe a certain move. For sure, they were missing a big-time Mbappé. But still, it was based on individuals, the game of Paris Saint-Germain. And Manchester City is all based on the team, on the group, on the spirit that they have together. And you can see that Pep Guardiola is really the centerpiece of that spirit.
I don't think there's a doubt that this is a more pragmatic Guardiola. This is a more pragmatic Manchester City, and I think epitomised by Ruben Dias, who, if he's not Player of the Year, they might as well just fold that award. Stop giving it to strikers and playmakers.
Really, because, you think
yeah,
it's been that
not just on tonight. I think he's done so much for John Stones, for Laporte when he comes in, for the back four, for leadership. And every great side doesn't just need great playmakers. They need, and it's good to see that the art of great defending isn't dead and buried. That, you know, you still need to have that basic skill and that desire. We saw, and I suppose going back to the graphic, that's where all the shots came from. I always try to think, you know, how many saves did Ederson make? But he didn't have to, because Ruben Dias blocked most of the things that came in, along with John Stones. But not just that, his reading of the game, when he steps in to win a ball, when he drops off, his strength, his pace, and that's been a big part of it. And let me tell you, maybe in previous seasons, and this is how difficult it must have been for City, how cagey must it have been, how they approach this game. We're this super fantastic attacking side, we're winning 2-1, we're at home, we're in the semi-final. What do we do? And I think in previous years, maybe they would have went out, and I don't know what the guys think, and maybe I thought, we're going to go from the whistle and we're going to try and flatten PSG, we're going to press them and we're going to kill them off. But no, as I say, they're a little bit more thoughtful about their performance now. They're prepared to get numbers behind the ball. They were prepared to drop everybody back in when Paris Saint-Germain had some pressure. And they defended really well in good numbers, like a good defensive side. And then when the game opened up a little bit, then we saw the Manchester City on the front foot. I think in previous years, they maybe went at it from the opening bell and left themselves open. They didn't really do that. One, because they've got the players, and two, I think because they have the scars of previous years, Dan.
Yeah.
Against teams that they should have beaten, and I'm not saying, certainly PSG is not one of those, but you think Lyon, and you know, the time they went to Anfield and got whipped by Liverpool.
Yeah, Spurs as well.
Spurs as well. So I think that was a very fine balancing act in terms of how do we play this tie. And if they get it wrong, they go out. But they got it absolutely spot on. We talk about all these players. I thought once again, Gundogan in midfield, taking the ball in tight spaces and taking it for a run, relieving the pressure or dropping the shoulder and beating a man, just allowing City to get another 15, 20 yards up the field was again very evident. And the decision to play Fernandinho, because when you saw the team sheet, oh, no Rodri. But actually his ability to cover space at 36 was immense, and his leadership was fantastic.
Frank, who would have thought we'd getting more excited about a centre-back performance in a Champions League semi-final on a pitch that didn't even have any strikers on for one side. Ruben Dias, very much the standout performance once again.
It's a real pleasure, and it's completely deserved from Ruben Dias, because he's showing to the world that he's the last piece of jigsaw puzzle that Manchester City needed to complete the piece. And they had everything, as Craig said. Offensively, they were strong, but they needed somebody to make sure the other will rely on defensively talking. And it's what he's doing. He's calm, he's sure of himself, he's still young, he gives everything. And as Craig said, Laporte, Stones are getting better alongside him. And even Fernandinho, I found Fernandinho very sure of himself at 36 years old in front of very good player. We're talking about Neymar, we're talking about Verratti. But he knows that he can go, he can do whatever he wants, because he knows that at the back they are strong. That was something was missing, lacking last year, and we see that. We see that, and it's the same for Chelsea. We're going to talk maybe about tomorrow Chelsea, but they're stronger defensively, like Manchester is stronger defensively, and maybe we can see those teams in the final of the Champions League. So we're still in the same path. You have to be strong defensively in order to win titles, even if you need artists at front. It doesn't change. And so, well done Guardiola, because he found the right piece at the right time, at the right moment for his team.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.